everybody. Oh, hold on. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to MangaPod, weekly podcast where we all get together and after we read all or part of a manga and we discuss it with friendship, love, and lots of spoilers. This week we are talking a very big favorite of ours, Hajime No Ippo. We're talking chapters 160. Nope, just kidding. 106 to 141, aka volume 12. I'm powering through, guys.
You are. You're crushing it. We took a long break, and we gotta get back into the swing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
These are true facts.
Happily Aaron. Let's go around and introduce the two selves.
Hi guys, I'm Dodger of Happily Dodger, and I'm delighted to be here, back on MangaPod, crushing it with my good buds.
Yeah. I'll give you a couple of fist bumps. My mic is kind of like in the way, so it's like not as. My name's Lou from Happy Lou. How you doing, everybody?
Yeah.
I missed you guys. It's been so long.
It's been so long.
I'm glad.
I'm excited.
That was a face.
I missed you guys.
Squishy.
A+.
Squishy.
Can you, I think that this is manga adjacent. Can you tell everybody what you told us about Kaylee and her pillow?
Yeah. Okay, guys. So, not this past Anime Expo, but last year, Kaylee, for some reason, before I went to Anime Expo, she was really into watching My Hero Academia with us, and she loved Bakugo because he made a funny face, and that funny face is like it's like his gritty, growly face. And so when I went to Anime Expo, I found her a pillow that is a Bakugo pillow, and it's really cute. She hated it, like, after the first time. She saw it, and she loved it, and then after that, she was like, no, I want nothing to do with this. Then randomly, this past week, she found it, and now it is her Kuroko pillow. She calls it Kuroko, because that's the only other anime character that she knows, because we've talked about him a lot, because she's my daughter.
Obviously,
and, so she calls it her Kuroko pillow. She sleeps with it. She gets really upset if she loses it, to the point, like, last night in the middle, around, like, 3 a.m., she woke up screaming and crying because she couldn't find it because it'd fallen off the bed and underneath her bed. And she takes it to daycare now, and it is her, like, replacement for her baby doll.
I love it.
So I posted a recent picture on Twitter of it. I think I posted it a few days ago, because she was talking to Elliot, and she goes, Elliot, this is my Kuroko, and he is a good guy. Like, that's how she said it. A good guy.
He's
like,
a good guy. He goes through a lot of character development, Elliot. Okay.
I mean,
it's okay to ship him with people, Elliot, because he goes through a lot of character development. He doesn't stay a bully forever, okay?
I think she's now qualified to make anime YouTube videos. I think like
so.
She has the skill
I
set.
would watch her channel.
I know, I should start. She already has the name. Like, she's got the name in there. She's got Lee.
That's
and
true.
Then she dances to Blackpink. That'll be her channel. Blackpink and anime.
Oh my gosh, that would be so. Wait, that's so great. Happily Kaylee.
Yeah.
Or happily K. How do we work this?
K.
It's okay. We'll work on it. We'll workshop it.
Happily K.
We'll have a production. We'll have a production meeting afterwards. We'll figure this out.
Okay. Fair enough. When we're putting together the next schedule, we'll also discuss what Kaylee's username is going to be.
I gotta book it now. I gotta get it now.
Yeah.
If you've never joined us for MangaPod before, what we like to do is give you a short spoiler-free description of the manga that we read, aka summary. And as I'm talking, I realized none of us decided who was gonna read that, so I can do that.
Okay.
I was like, read by our lovely guest, and I went, we don't have one this week.
It would have. Wow, wouldn't that have been incredible if we were like read by our lovely guest and we just ran with it? And then at the time when the summary was supposed to be read, we just sat here in silence for like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I ruined that for us.
A
It's
really
okay.
meta joke.
And then we'll give you our spoiler-free recommendations, whether we think you should spend time going to read this manga or not. That way, if it sounds like something you're interested in and you don't want to be spoiled for it once we get to spoiler section, then you can go ahead and listen to what we say and then take your leave once we get there. We ask that nobody post any spoilers in chat until we get to spoiler section. Once we're in spoiler section, please don't spoil anything past chapter 141, so nothing like 142 to 1700. That's all off the table.
Don't talk about it. And let's be real, none of us will know if you're spoiling shit or not, so we're banning everybody. Just don't talk about it.
We're real angry since we took a little break. We've like really nailed down our
supposed to chill out more, and it did the opposite.
We're back with a vengeance.
Okay. Spoiler-free description. Ippo is a 16-year-old high school student who helps his mother run the family business. His hefty workload impedes on his social life, making him an easy target for bullies. One day, while being beaten up by a group of high school students, Ippo is saved by a boxer named Takamura and is brought to the Tamagawa boxing gym. This afternoon bullying session turns his life around for the better as Ippo discovers his latent talent for boxing and decides to practice the sport professionally. However, Mamoru doubts Ippo's determination and assigns it. Oh, you know, that part's not really that important. Along the way, he finds out what it means to attain true strength while making new friends and fighting formidable foes. Who wants to go first? Spoiler-free recommendation.
I'll go first. Ippo's real fucking good. Go read it. I mean, considering that we've read like 16 volumes of it, I think that should be a pretty good indication of how we feel about this manga.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sure. I'll follow that up. Yeah. I agree. It's great. I don't to be honest, like here's something weird about Ippo is every time that we go to read it, I'm like, I'm not really sure how this is going to feel any different from everything that we've read before. Again, we've read 16 volumes of this now, right? And every time we go to read it, I'm like, I feel like this is just going to be more of the same. But somehow it manages to like really keep it fresh. Is that the right word? Yeah, you really root for Ippo. I still am thinking to myself, how does this continue to feel this way? Does it continue to feel this way? Does it somehow magically manage to continue to be interesting and great? I don't know, but what we've read so far, has been really good. So
yeah, I agree. I think Ippo is one of the we all know that Ippo is like one of the highly rated, kind of coveted sports manga. It's had a lot of influence. If you ever talk about sports manga or sports anime, people always call back to Ippo. And I think it's for a really good reason, too. It's got great characters. It's got awesome fights. It does all of the things you look for in a sports manga really, really well. And yeah, I'm the same. I'm always like, how are they going to keep doing this? Especially for 1,000 chapters. But then when you're like reading it, you completely forget that there is that much left because it's so engaging in what you're reading. And it also just flies real fast. Goes really quick too. So if you're looking for sports manga that's real easy to read, like most sports manga are, but Ippo is definitely one that I think like it's easy to read and also really engaging and fun too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Another follow-up that we always talk about in sports manga is whether or not they do the thing where they're like, wow, that was really incredible. Let's over-explain it to death. And they don't do that in this. They explain things in just the right way. That doesn't inundate you with like boxing details, you know? So it's really good about that and keeping you like understanding and engaged. there's always a learning character
Yeah.
that has stuff explained. So
I almost said something that's a spoiler, but I'm not gonna say it. Not breaking our rules. So on that note, let's go ahead. Does anybody else have anything like that? Otherwise, we'll jump into spoiler.
I have something that Holden taught me, and this came up during the first episode of a podcast that I do with a good friend of the show, Dakota Brisky, called the Anime Hour. And in this episode that I did with Holden as a guest, he Ippo came up. It was great, like the whole conversation around Ippo. But he told me that if you mispronounce Hajime no Ippo a certain way, because the Hajime no Ippo is the first steps of fighting. Like that's the literal translation. If you mispronounce it, it can be understood as the first steps of erectile dysfunction, because impo is a borrowed word for, sad boners.
amazing.
I feel like I've 100% mispronounced it.
We've definitely talked about erectile dysfunction on these episodes then.
Yes.
By accident.
I just figured that, fighting spirit. That's the English title.
Yeah. Fighting spirit.
Fighting spirit. Which, kind of relates. Like, they kind of sometimes can go together.
I agree. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We support all kinds of people in all stages
We support
of life.
all kinds of struggles that you have to fight through.
Fighting spirit. Spoiler section countdown.
Anyways, yep, going into spoiler section. Wait, you have 5 seconds to get out of here.
Oh, yeah, bye. We're not talking about...
You have 5 seconds to get out of here if you don't want to be spoiled about volumes 12 through 16 of Hajime no Ippo. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Takamura's God.
Takamura's always God. Can we
Also,
talk about...
No, Aaron, go ahead. Go ahead, please.
What would you
It's
like
a
to talk
boner
about?
question. It's really
Yes! That's exactly what I was gonna think.
Guys.
I mean, it's a justifiable segue, like based off of what we were
I
just
know,
talking
that's
about.
what I was thinking. I was like, there's a lot of boners in this to be considered like fighting erectile dysfunction. Maybe it's
That is
inspiration for people.
Also, sometimes like maybe a little too much shape to the boner.
It's
You
weird.
know, like it could have just been like a little teepee, but it
How like there's a
lot
of
of detail.
Very detailed like mushroom shapes happening.
Yeah, exactly.
How?
Like, did we need that? I
Hello,
don't think we
Thierry.
did.
Thanks for the raid.
Thank you for the raid, Thierry. Love you.
So, people that are showing up, we're talking about dicks and manga.
For a reason. Okay.
There's a purpose. It's
This
kids
is
manga.
Critical analysis. That's what we're doing here.
Like the doctor's boobs were so big that it gave the old man one. So maybe how tight are their underwear? That's just my question. That's what
I guess
was
real
thinking
tight,
the whole time.
baby.
All of them. There were fewer dicks than the last reading, though.
That's
Yes.
true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Everyone go
But
read
still,
Hajime no Ippo.
still notable moments that come to mind.
Yeah. I'm glad.
Anyway, so boxing.
So boxing. What we like to do in this section, start with the question, what were you expecting for reading this manga? But we've all already read it. There were a lot of arcs that we hit in this.
Yeah.
They were all
we actually got through a lot of stuff.
that didn't feel like we didn't get enough of it. So the first arc we had, shoot, I wrote something down. I wrote down stuff on a sticky note so I'd remember and be professional, but I wrote it out of order because I was thinking too fast.
So we started with the end of the Rookie King fight.
Yes. Yeah. What did you guys think of how that ended?
It was, I mean, it was purposefully kind of unsatisfying, right?
Mhm.
Like he lost consciousness while they were in between rounds. Like that's not a super. There wasn't a knockout necessarily, right? We still got the moment of, you know, everybody from his hometown being like, oh my God, he pushed through and was still fighting, even though he was unconscious, because we were rooting for him and he didn't want to let us down, right? That was like, right? Like we got that moment and I loved that. But I understand why Ippo in the story was like, I don't feel like I won.
Yeah.
Like I get that, because it did feel, I assume that guy's gonna come back.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that makes sense to me, is that they'll have another shot at that fight, you know?
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. Like that anticlimax, I mean, it was a little frustrating because it was such an intense fight up until that point. And like from the, you know, the resolution to that fight was unsatisfying, but it makes sense only in the context of the mangaka wants to reuse this character because they're like the perfect mirror match for Ippo.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
so it's
Yeah,
like
because they're like the same style. That was like the whole thing, right?
So it's just really frustrating. But like the story moves so quickly, I didn't have time to like dwell in that frustration.
Yeah. Yeah, I was the same. I was really annoyed that it ended the way that it did. But then I was switched to being really impressed because that's how the characters, like, that's how Ippo was feeling. Was that, like, that's not how he wanted to win, and none of us, when we read it, that's not how we wanted him to win either.
Right.
So I think that's actually kind of impressive, even if it is, like, I want to be able to use this character, so I don't want their arc to end, even if that's, like, the motivation for it, the way that the mangaka was able to immerse us in the emotion that the characters were feeling too, was really well done, I thought. And so even though I was like, this is so frustrating, but like Lou said, it quickly moves right into the next arc, so we don't even have time to like hang out in those feelings at all.
It's true.
So another arc.
I'm trying to remember what came next.
We have Miyata versus Jimmy. I don't know if that came right after that or not.
Didn't Miyata versus Jimmy come like after?
Was it after
the spar?
Date?
Yeah,
I think it was after the spar, but before the main fight, or not the main fight, the fight with the protege. The jealous guy.
Yeah, I think you're right. It went spar with what's his ass?
Dottie.
Featherweight champion.
Dottie, yeah.
Dottie, yes.
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
And then the match with number 5.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I forgot about
that. But before that, we met his new little buddy.
Yeah. Guramichi.
I like him.
I love the fact that Ippo has a little like
a little Ippo
fanboy. And that like we get to see this little part of Ippo grow from that to be kind of like a little leader. He's like, this is not who I am, like it's not my personality. And so then having him get that has been it's been refreshing, especially since we didn't have another character Ippo's age at the gym. So it's nice to have another character that's his age that he can kind of play off of too. And he's such a good senpai. He, like, takes him places and teaches him the ropes and like encourages him to cheer everybody on, and it's cute. I like that. Go ahead, Lou.
Can I tell you something I didn't like about it? Is I know that this is an old manga, like especially this
I know exactly
section
what you're
of reading.
Say.
But
I know
like
exactly what you're gonna say too.
Takamura's homophobic comments constantly, it was really off-putting. Like everything about this manga, even though it's set in the 90s and it was written that far ago, holds up except for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. As I was reading, I was just like, Like, great.
Literally
Okay.
every time he got a
Yeah.
chance to talk, it was a joke about that. And I was like, really? There's nothing else more interesting you could be saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Really?
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, luckily
I
that
totally agree.
lessons, like, that doesn't keep going. But yeah, it was really
Yeah.
off-putting even having it in there just to, like, even once was too much. And then having it for, like, 3 chapters, he said it. And it's just like, okay,
Yeah.
this is enough of
Okay.
that. Huh.
Cool. That's fine.
I like that that Gomichi was the only one out of all the people that were like, yeah, we're joining the gym. Ippo's inspired us. That he's the one who did it, and it's this little underdog story, and I'm so excited to see what he does. When he was doing his exam and Ippo started getting really mad, I was like, yeah, punch those guys. I wanted Ippo to fight them so bad so that he could be like, I'm the champion, bitches. And he didn't, which makes sense. But
I think before that, I just want to, because I'm thinking of it now and I loved it. I loved that we got like a little part of a chapter that was him walking home with his old bullies. And they were all like so supportive, and there was that moment of like the leader of the bullies that used to pick on him so badly, like trying desperately to say like, you're awesome and I'm sorry and I shouldn't have treated you the way that I did. And the only thing like Ippo was like, oh, do you want to know when my next match is? I don't know when it is yet, but I'll let you know. And he was like, yeah, let me know.
That was it was so wholesome.
yeah,
I know, it was really wholesome. I liked that because I think in the past we've talked about how easy it seemed for Ippo to suddenly be around those guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked that we had a moment that acknowledges that this guy is like kind of torn up about how he treated Ippo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody in chat, Messy Bristles accidentally spelled Ippo hippo.
Hippo, my favorite boxer.
Hippo is in the sentences. Hippo is too pure to hate.
I mean,
true.
yes.
It's true. I chuckled. That's funny. Typos amuse me. So that bully eventually works for Ippo's mom, right? Is that the same person? I thought it was.
Is that the same guy? I can't remember.
I don't remember.
It was. We're going with it was. So that I can say, how sweet is it that
this might not be true, but it is true.
Works with his mom and supports him.
I like the character development with his mom too.
Yeah.
How his mom is still very believably like, I really don't like that the thing you've chosen to be super intense about is getting the shit beat out of you. But I love you.
Yes. Where
like she tries to be supportive, but is really reserved about it.
Mm-hmm. I didn't realize, it's crazy to me how much time has passed since the beginning of it. It's 2 years.
2 years.
So he's graduated high school, which takes out the whole like high school sports drama side of it, because basically every single sports drama is sports dramas. I've been watching a lot of Thai dramas, so the word drama is just in my head.
But normally it's middle school or high school.
Yeah. So yeah, with the mom, I was really scared she was gonna die. There's plenty of time for her still to die, but I'm happy she hasn't died yet.
Me too.
But yeah, when she dropped the cup, I was like, oh no. The foreshadowing.
This is an anime red flag. Yeah.
But when she made his boxers, I was like, or not his boxers, his like shorts.
His boxing shorts. His boxers. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna I think that works.
I thought that was really sweet. So then we do have the fight with Date. What were your guys' feelings? What are your guys' thoughts on Daddy Date?
Daddy Date. I like him.
Yeah, I have no problems with him. I want more. Like, I want to get to know him a bit more. Specifically, like, I'm looking forward to like a really serious confrontation between them.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like they're also looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm. They're building up a lot of hype with him.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I liked that there was a reason for him to call Ippo out, because originally with it just being like, hey, you should come spar sometime, and then immediately calls him out to spar, I was like, why is the champ asking the rookie champ to come out and spar with it? Like, that seems weird. But I was glad that we got an explanation of like, oh, he has a very similar style to the next person that I'm going to fight, and I want to just like try out a move on him. Like, that seems so much more believable to me than him being like, I'm just going to call, why not? Rookie King, come hang out with me, the featherweight champ, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I like the sort of what am I looking for? What am I trying to say? There's a time limit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, now that Ippo knows that he's trying to be like a world champ, Ippo's like, wait, but
Yeah.
wait. So, yeah.
I liked the whole corkscrew introduction
Mhm.
of that punch. Just like even with other things that we're seeing, just all the different fighting styles that are getting brought in, because I know nothing about boxing. Surprising, yeah. I know nothing about boxing.
Shocked.
But I find it really fascinating how they introduce all the moves and how they show it too, without like what Dodger was saying earlier, without having a character sitting there being like, I don't know what this means. Another character being like, let me explain it to you in 5 pages of text. And so, yeah, I've always, even like not knowing it, it's really fun to learn what the different fighting styles are and figuring out how one fighting style is going to go against another one. So that makes the matches even more interesting.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. No, it's true. Like, I'm trying to think ahead, because we saw the introduction of a character that I think is probably like, all right, so I haven't read the Ippo manga outside of MangaPod ever.
Right.
But
Same.
I have seen the anime, and that was many years ago. And there was one character that was introduced in this batch of reading that we haven't gotten a lot of time with, that really stood out to me. And it's like kind of a side character, and that's Volk. So in the next batch of reading, we're going to get to spend a good amount of time with them. And I remember that story being really good.
Ooh. Yeah, I haven't seen the anime, but he definitely, I was like surprised that we didn't get to see more of him in this batch of reading, because so often, like, Ippo does this too, where they're like, the next opponent gets foreshadowed real quick. Like, it goes from like, here's who they are, and then 5 chapters later, we're in the fight. Like, that kind of a thing. So having him, when he was first talked about and first introduced, I was like, all right, he's going to be the next one that Ippo goes up against. And we haven't. It's like, not.
Yeah.
And so that definitely threw me off. I was waiting for him to show up. Didn't happen. We got fancy ponytail man. With his awesome boots. Did you guys notice his boots?
I did not.
They were cheetah print, and they matched his boxers that went up to his nipples.
I mean, he has a flair for style.
I need to go back and look.
You guys didn't pay attention to that?
I'm sorry.
Let's just snap back, because I wrote it on a post-it note, so it's happening. We're talking about it. So we had Miyata versus Jimmy.
Right.
Jimmy. Yes. What are you guys' thoughts on that whole thing? The fact that we got like an arc outside of Ippo.
Honestly, I
Honestly,
kept feeling there were so many openings for an arc outside of Ippo that just kept not happening, so it really surprised me.
Mm-hmm.
I actually, of this batch of reading, I really didn't like this part too much. Because
I was about to say that I actually don't remember very much of it. And I like just read it. Isn't that weird?
It's very generic throwaway.
Miyata's a very like stern and serious character.
It's true.
So it's just like, I don't know, like outside of the, like certain moments from the fight, it was very forgettable.
Mm-hmm. And the whole backstory with like his dad, and that's the reason why his dad stopped fighting. It felt kind of like
Right.
a forced tearjerker moment that wasn't really necessary. I feel like it would have been more effective if we had seen that within a fight with Ippo, because that's a character who we would have cared more about that fight. And then it was definitely Jimmy was hyped so high that to have him like hit with just that thing. I get that we want to see like Miyata's growth and how he's going to eventually close the gap between him and Ippo. But it was still just okay.
We also,
he
like-
never laughs, and now he did.
Oh my god. Well, and also like it's been a long time since we've done anything with Miyata.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's not that I don't want to root for him. It's just that I find him less interesting than the other stuff that's going on right now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Mhm.
agree with that. So the last fight, we kind of stopped in a really bad spot for it.
Did we didn't talk about the Okita match
Oh, that's
against
right.
number 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a classic story. I feel like that was a classic, like, why is my senpai paying attention to you instead of me? I have to prove that I am worthy of my senpai's attention. I was like, okay. I'm gonna do the corkscrew that senpai wouldn't show me, but would show this guy. Who the fuck is this guy? It's like, damn, all right.
It's like, oh my.
It's really intense.
I always like seeing that kind of story play out.
Mhm.
Too. What about you,
I
Leo?
like-
What are your thoughts on it?
Like, all right, I like the arc, but I feel like, all right, so I like that it was as short as it was. It went
Mm-hmm.
by really quickly, and I'm really glad that they didn't try to drag it out. Especially like with if the end goal is for him to fight Date, right? I would
Yeah.
imagine that a lot of the preparation would be very similar to what the type of preparation that he would have to do for this match.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad that building up the fight is being reserved for the bigger match.
Yeah. And Ippo finally got a match where he did the 2 downs.
Mm-hmm.
He nailed it.
Mhm.
So that was also nice.
Go Ippo. Ippo. Speaking of like going back to like talking about like tearjerker stuff, this is like going back. Ippo's whole that chapter 2 where they were talking about that Ippo might retire from boxing. Did any of you actually think he was gonna retire? Was there
I mean,
ever a
what would-
moment where you're just
what
like,
would-
What would the
Yeah.
rest of it be about?
I mean, like, all right, if this
He's gonna
would
be
have
a
been,
coach now.
yes,
just a
No, but
senpai for life?
if it would have been like, if I would have been reading this as it's getting released, I would believe it, like, because you have no reason not to.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, we have the fact that we're reading this like 20 years after this was published. So
Yeah,
you know,
it
we
kind of loses some effect.
yeah, so it wasn't as impactful as it could have been.
Yeah.
You know what's something that's sorry, this is kind of off topic. You know what's something that's so hard for me to not do, but I keep resisting, is to look at what the art is like in the most recent chapters.
Yeah.
It's got to be so different. Like maybe not so different, but it's got to be different.
Yeah.
I'm so curious, but at the same time, I don't want to look.
Well, did the mangaka start going more digital? Probably, right?
Probably.
Because after like new assistants and stuff like that, you kind of have to move to that kind of process to keep up nowadays with like publication. No, with Ippo, it's such a classic and that's been going on for so long. I'm sure that the mangaka had a little bit of leeway with certain things like deadlines and stuff.
Right.
But yeah, it has to be so different because the art. We can actually segue this into like talking about the art, because the art is just really interesting for Ippo. I kind of feel the same way that I feel about Mob Psycho's art, where it's like if you were to do this art on a different kind of story, it would not work. You'd just be like,
Yeah.
this is hideous. This does not work. I get no emotion from it. Because it's the story that it's telling. It's boxing. It's gritty. It's like just fighting and getting hurt. And they're not supposed to look pretty. It works so well. And it doesn't lose, even like having that style, it doesn't lose anything in the fights itself either. So the like action and movement and everything is still really impactful. So it just all works together in a perfect package for this specific story.
Yeah. Yeah, because it does feel old, but it's still like so clean and it delivers the story perfectly. And I've gotten so like when I read it, it just feels like Ippo to me. So yeah, I agree. It like I don't know if it's because we've read it so much now, but I can't imagine it any other way. Like so.
Yeah. But you, Lou, do you have any recent thoughts on the art?
Well, I have never looked at future chapters because I want to be surprised at the evolution. The art, I feel that has a specific charm to it. And I agree with you guys in that I believe that if I saw this art on something else, where there wasn't a logical reason for the characters to be so ugly, uh, then I would probably take issue with it. But it looks really good. I think specifically in terms of like the impact, like the moments of like when they land a big hit, like that's always extremely well done. And I feel like all right, we've mentioned that this is a fast read. One of the reasons why it's such a quick read is because you understand the fights really easily as you're reading through them. So that's the capacity of the artist to tell a story through just the art without like having to rely on dialogue is really top tier. Like this mangaka has a talent for conveying that, and I think part of what makes that so is actually I would say there's two parts. One is that they're confined to a specific space, so they don't have to worry about any changes in geography. And two, the style of boxing really doesn't lend itself to too many different changes in perspectives or attack patterns.
Right.
Yeah.
So like if you notice, like there's a a lot of different strikes and a lot of different ways of presenting the strikes. But I would imagine that over the course of the entire manga, we're going to start to see a pattern in terms of like, there's only so many different ways you can see or you can show someone getting punched in the face.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. I never thought about how there are like confined to the one specific. They're confined to like four little walls, basically. Sweet. Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about? Is there anything else we skimmed or skipped? Want to bring up? I lost my post-it note, so I don't remember what else.
I heard you rustling a paper a few times, and I assume it was in one of those moments of just like fury that it vanished. Oh, nice. There you go. Under the butt.
It was stuck to my pants. Literally, I have this word that it's pointing to Miyata versus Jimmy, but I spelled Miyata wrong. I forgot to put the Y in it. And then I wanted to type final blow, final blow, and it looks like smiled biome. So
yes, indeed.
Smile biome. My favorite biome.
I thought that was
mean,
really important to share. I think it
Yeah,
brought
I like
a lot
it.
of commentary
oh,
and
okay.
insight into this manga pod.
Yes.
And
So it was about Miyata smiling finally after he nailed the solid counter.
that was my biggest takeaway from this reading.
How
Really,
he was
guys.
he was a sad boy until he punched a guy in the face the
He
right
was
way.
sad.
Yeah. And then
was
he
sad.
entered the smile biome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. It all comes together.
That's what Thailand is. It's the smile biome.
It's the smile biome.
Like if you
I
go on
like it.
Wikipedia and you look at Thailand, under the list of alternate names, that's like the third or fourth one.
It's not the top. It's just a little bit lower.
Yeah.
It's like a regional thing. You have to have been there.
Oh.
I love it.
Oh, I love you guys. I'm happy we're back.
Me too. I've missed you guys.
Yeah.
Sweet. Should we do final thoughts and ratings?
Yes, please.
Somebody want to go first?
I
My
can't remember what I
my
gave it
rating
last
is
time.
a smile biome. That's mine.
Smile
Take-
out of biome.
Take from that what you will.
All right.
Okay.
I have a numerical score.
Do it.
So this is probably the worst section of reading that we've done of Ippo so far. Minus like the first or the very start with the Rookie King fight. Like if we were to cut that part out, because that kind of like built, obviously that was really coming from the build up from the reading we had done the last time we covered this. So if we look at exclusively material or arcs that are contained to this section of reading, then yeah, this is probably the worst Ippo reading. Now, that said, that doesn't mean it's bad. I enjoyed the fights that we saw. The comedy moments did get a chuckle out of me. Takamura and the old man getting into fights was pretty funny. Not a fan of the homophobic content, but again, it is a product of its time.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have to say this particular section, I'd give like a 7.5.
Mm-hmm.
And that's saying something, because like the other times, if I'm not mistaken, I've consistently given it either a 9 or a 10.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a substantial dip. But I'm sure like where we're heading next time, it's going to be like right back up to 9 to 10 region.
Yeah. When you first started, like you gave, like we're talking, I was like, what? And then as you were talking, I was like, okay, I agree with this. I can see. Where
Yeah, I
you're
was
going
the
with
same. I
this.
was like, what? I still really enjoyed it. But that's fair. We didn't have, even though we went through a lot of like mini arcs kind of, we didn't have a lot of matches where you were like, oh my God,
Yeah.
what's going to happen? Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
That's kind of like the double-edged sword that is the the short build up for multiple payoffs. Like versus long-term storytelling, which is what we got a lot of in the prior sections of the reading.
Yeah.
So it's always building up to one big match, and the big match will go for several chapters, and it's very tense. And we didn't really get that in this section.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I think it boils down to that question of quantity versus quality. And in this case, for this section of reading, it was quality or quantity that ended up winning out. And I guess it makes sense, because I feel like the mangaka is trying to build to something. So like these are components that are going to build to a major part in the story.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
it
yeah.
definitely feels like it's setting up more stuff. This was all like a setup arc chunk of reading. So I can see that. I think I'd probably agree with all of that. What you're saying, now that you like said it like that, I was like, yeah, I think that all makes a lot of sense. Like overall, Ippo is still up there, like 9 to 10 range, like for all of it, but it is a little bit of a lull section of reading. But it still makes me really excited to get back into like the high intensity stuff, because we do have like these tournament like matches coming up with at least like 2 or 3 majorly hyped up moments that like matches that we're waiting for. So yeah, I'm excited for it. So I'd give it probably this section like a 7.5 out of 10.
I really like his little buddy, so I'm gonna give it an 8.
His buddy is worth
He bumped it up.
0.5.
Yeah, he's
0.5
great.
points.
He's great. He's so inspired by Ippo, and then got the reveal of Ippo was a loser like me. Which is great. Heart wrenching, adorable. And in the end of the rookie champ fight, we got the tearjerker. Oh my god, he was unconscious, but he continued to fight because we were cheering him on. What a bro. Loved it. 8. 8 out of 10.
What a bro.
And the fucking kids, the little kids, he gave them money. The kids still took the money, but they were like, give us the rest of the money when you're the champion. As they're sobbing, I was like, Jesus.
I forgot about the little bubbies.
Adorable.
That's so sweet.
And a little fucked up. They took all his money.
After he was like unconscious.
Yes.
He woke up from consciousness and they immediately were like, give us your cash.
I mean, like,
Inspired.
It was the 90s. It was like they wanted a Super Famicom. I get it.
I get it.
I get it.
Period.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, that wraps up our discussion on Hajime no Ippo. So we all highly recommend this manga, especially if you're looking for a sports manga. It's one you need to definitely go and check out. You will not regret it. It's fantastic and wonderful. Oh, wait. Sorry.
Yes.
Dingus McFadden in the chat said, talk about the ears. He wants to know what our thoughts are on the ears of the characters.
I would have to bring up do they slowly develop cauliflower ears and we just haven't noticed it? That would be such an interesting long game in the artwork. I don't know. I have not paid attention to the ears.
I know. Though I do have a picture on the screen, and they do look like kind of swirly, maybe? I'm interested. I'm interested in your thoughts on the ears. Chat.
Oh, yeah.
And Dodger.
Yeah, chat.
Dodger. You.
Hajime no Ippo.
Ears.
Manga.
Ears.
I don't want to just type in ears. I might get spoiled.
I get spoiled all the time.
Well, that's from the anime, and his ear looks like a normal ass ear, so I'm assuming that's not it.
Yeah, I haven't noticed anything, so.
Okay. Here we go. Rookie King tournament.
What
His
the
ear looks like a
fuck?
normal ass ear.
I
Although they are swirly. I see what you mean by swirly.
they kind of look like seashells.
Lots of little. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, they look like seashells. So
Okay, Miyata's comeback. Let's see. Miyata's ears also seashells.
so they all have the same ears.
Right. Jolt. Also seashells. Cool.
Meow.
Sherlock wants us to know that he also thinks everyone has seashell ears. Hey, buddy. Would you like to talk about manga?
Oh, Sherlock. Sweet. Well, that wraps up our discussion on Hajime no Ippo. Usually at this point, we read the description for what we're reading next week, and we let chat guess what it is. We are actually not going to be here next week, and the week after we will be back, but we don't know what we're reading yet. So we will be posting the schedule, and then also check out our Twitters, like keep track of that, because we'll be posting on there. We'll tweet about what we are reading before MangaPod happens. So let's go around and shout out our stuff super fast. I'm Erin of Happily Erin. I have a YouTube channel. It's mostly the MangaPod channel. There's a MangaPod listed there, but if you want to check out my anime stuff, I also have previous anime first impressions, reviews, all that stuff. I'm currently working on a book. I'm on the 3rd rewrite. It's going great.
Yeah.
Going through author feelings right now.
I'm excited to get my hardcover eventually.
I know. I'm excited. I'm excited to get it done. It's going really good. The rewrite's going great.
Good.
It's just going through it, doing it. So I did recently post, if you go to my Twitter, the art print that was exclusive to the Indiegogo is
It looks
posted
amazing.
there. I love it so much. I might have cried every single time he sent me like a picture. I was like, ugh! So if you want to follow me, I'm a lot more active on Twitter, but I'm happily airing all across the everything. Come and chat with me about stuff.
Hi guys, I'm Dodger. You can find me at Dex Bonus on pretty much everything. I don't really post anything to YouTube anymore except for Twitch VODs, so just like keep that in mind. But I stream pretty much every day, sometimes twice a day. So if you're into that, come hang out. And I have cats and a baby, and they all like show up sometimes, and they're all pretty cute. And that's it. That's all I got going for me.
That's a lot. I think that's
It's
a
a
whole
lot.
world.
It's some
I
great
agree.
stuff. It's some
I
great
agree.
stuff.
I agree.
My name's Lou, and I have a YouTube channel that rarely gets attention. It's Lou Talks Anime, and I also have another podcast that I do with a friend of the show, Tuka Dabrowski, called The Anime Hour. I have 2 completely edited episodes that I just haven't uploaded. Those will go up eventually, and I guess I'll mention it on MangaPod. I'm really active on Twitter, so you can go follow my Twitter, which is at LuTalksAnime. And yeah, let's talk about these fighting boys and all the other mangoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much in chat that are hanging out with us. And if you're watching us on YouTube, thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate it. Like I said, we will be tweeting about the manga that we were reading, not next week, but the week after that. Then you'll be able to find us right here, same place, same time, 7 Purdy. 7 Purdy. PM Pacific time. PST? Are we in PST or P something else? DT? PDT?
Pacific time.
At this time right now, but like an hour earlier.
An hour earlier.
Right.
An hour earlier of right now.
Yeah, exactly. Nailed it. If you want more of us, you can go ahead and check out our subreddit, reddit.com/r/mangapod. Like I said, the previous schedule is up there, but we do have a recommendation thread. If there's anything you would like to see us tackle that we have not, or that you would like to see us do again, go ahead and post it there. If it's already there, go ahead and upvote it. But yeah, we will be here same time, same place next week. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye. 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 Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.